So I think our rotation was really good. We found a really good entry point, but I think we lost too much time trying to third-party the teams, and we ended up forgetting our main goal, that is trying to find our entry point to the next save. So this ended up punishing us very hard when we tried to find the entry point. That was like 3 teams around, so we lost 2 players, and then only 1 player left. He tried to gain as much time possible, but we knew that the game was over there.
Unfortunately for you guys. However, it's still early stages of your first day. It's your first few maps, so you guys are just getting warmed up. You're shaking off some of the dust. So congratulations to Team Liquid so far. Thank you so much tonight for joining us in the post-match interviews. But for now, we're going to continue day 2 of the group stage, and we're going to head back to the studio.
With dual gaming chipsets and 144Hz AMOLED screens, the GT20 Pro will equip teams with up to 120 FPS, which is also the first batch of supported devices, offering esports level performance and visually stunning experiences in the 2024 PMWC. And you never guess what, Hot Jukes? That's exactly where we are.
That is
Map
right.
Number 3, day 2, first day for Group Green, coming in for PMWC. It's time to kick it off.
Let's kick it off indeed, and we kicked it off strong right here. Tianba going crazy. You can see QZZ with the most elimination so far, most damage, no surprise there. And to kind of galvanize the interview that we just heard a little bit earlier with Knight from Team Liquid, man, I love the fact that when it comes to his idea of building a new team, right? Not just having an idea of what he wants and fitting just random players in there that will make that happen. No, search out different players and then build off that, right? Find out what each strength is, how can we make this work, and just go from there. And it's worked, it worked well. And I like his answer of what happened in the last game. Sometimes you get a little antsy, head up a little bit too early, and in a tournament like this, that small mistake, you can pay big time for it.
Absolutely. We'll see if they're able to stay a little bit less squirmy in their seats this time around. The plane path, very similar to the first one, the Povka down to Primorsk, but the circle, very much not similar to the first one.
Right.
Opposite side of the map, down towards Primorsk. This is good news, potentially, for a team like Vampire. Obviously, mean Kale over on the desk, mean old Kale, that grumpy old so-and-so, was saying how bad they were in those first 2 matches. No, but they have only got 1 point, right? So this is their chance. They've got circle shifting out their way.
Oh!
They aren't going to have too much to getting on with. Ayala, okay. Getting it done. The shot out the sky. It's a skeet shoot.
Man, that's like shooting ducks in a barrel, as
That's what
our
I
local
always say.
Scrooge must say. You know, so it's crazy to see that right off the rip. That's gonna hurt, especially since TJB did so well in the last match.
I'm definitely going to be calling him Scrooge McHale from now on.
Scrooge McHale. Yeah, I think that's the new name right there. Hopefully we can see him change it on all platforms.
Yeah, on the lower thirds.
That's
I'll get on to Tomasz about that one. We'll be all right. D plus Kia, they're currently dropping out towards school. Should be fairly easy transitions out southwest for them. Before, in a previous match, we saw Everest be quite an important feature. That was Reject who were taking control of that one pretty effectively. But right now, Falcons are pretty close to it. Al-Ula XIHC as well in South George. Going to be around that sort of area. A lot of potential to control the west coast from a position like this. A lot of teams, though, could just send straight across those Gatka fields into it as well.
Yeah, and I think that if they were going to make that stand, they would have had to do it already. And that's the thing, is every single time you have a zone shift so far away from the plane path, you have to decide, right? Okay, are we going to stay here, loot, and be late? Or are we going to just pick up whatever item we can find and get on the move? You can even see Tianba. I mean, they're the top team right now in this lobby. Already 87 points. They're trying to create that gap from the rest of everybody. Now, Tianba, if I recall, yeah, Tianba will not be playing tomorrow, right? So they're doing exactly what they need to, putting up so many points that nobody can even touch them. And man, they really started off strong here.
And remember what I said at the start, where I predicted that the bubble would be somewhere in the low 70s?
That's right.
This is the first team to cross that threshold, right? Tianba now 87 points. No matter what, it's very likely that they'll get through to the finals directly, right?
Oh, yeah.
Just off the first couple of games that they've had today. They obviously have more legroom now to try and stretch out a little bit of a lead, make their way up towards the top.
And you know, there's so many different advantages, right, when it comes to having such a strong performance off the rip. I mean, yeah, they've already crossed that, you know, threshold. Not an official threshold, but it is our estimate here, you know. And if you do that so early, I mean, they still have 4 more matches left to go. At this point, it's just about making more money in the bank. But there's another thing as well they could do.
What could they do?
When you have such a great performance and you're like, all right, we know we're going to go to that finals already. There's a couple different things you could do. One, play your heart out, try to go ahead and get that first place, put some more money in the bank. 2, right? Mix some things up, try and train your players up, right, for the finals. So
bring
hey,
subs in, that sort of stuff.
That's right. You know, bring subs in, or if we feel like we struggle with this particular strategy, let's try it now. It's risky, but we can afford to try it and train up for the finals coming up, right?
Yeah, they've got Tian Yu, for instance. I think that's from a previous team. I don't know if they are playing or not. I think they've got a sub or 2 on the roster.
It's possible.
To see.
Yeah, so many different things you could try, and you can afford to try it here now because this is going to be the best practice you could possibly hope for coming up for the finals. Or number 3, John.
What's number 3? I'm liking this. I like door number 3 already. I choose door number 3.
Decide that you want certain teams not to make it in the finals and hunt them down.
Oh, I chose the right door.
Oh,
that is the
baby.
most fun one, certainly for us. It could be pretty tricky, pretty chaotic as well. If you're Tianba, then I put it to you. If you're going to choose door number 3, which team do you want to be behind that door?
Ooh. Honestly, if I'm them, I'm trying to hurt some teams that I find a threat, you know?
Okay.
If you're Tianba, number 1, I would hunt down a squad that maybe lands near you on certain maps, you know, and that can make things a little bit easier towards the finals, or just hunt down some squads that you know can go crazy tomorrow. And we're talking about, you know, squads like Team Falcons, right? Team Liquid had a great start here. Maybe you want to kind of slow them down, or maybe you decide to take out the team that took that last scoop of shakshuka during the breakfast buffet. You know what I'm saying?
You know what? I like that last one as well. It's always door number 3. You've got great door 3s.
What can I say?
What
can I say? It's the third one's the charm.
Absolutely. Well, there you go. Now, Tianba, I mean, I would sort of agree. I like the idea of targeting a strong team that is on the boundary right now. So, for instance, Team Liquid, they have got that 10-point average that I was talking about earlier today. Very, very impressive. But I tell you what, who else has that now is Tianba themselves, right? 80 points would be 10 points average. They've got a little bit more than that. They've got almost an 11-point average. They're 1 point off of that from that previous result. It's pretty impressive that they've been able to jump up that far. So I think you might be right with Falcons potentially being my top pick for them to target if they were to go for that sort of a strategy. Right now, they've sailed down the west side on past Georgia Pole, and they are currently on that West Coast road, trying to find their feet there. Team Liquid, a lot more central, though.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm not saying that Tianba is most likely going to go and, like, hot drop somebody at this point, you know, or do something crazy like that. But since you have so many points, you have a lot more flexibility, right? So let's say you get a thirst on a Falcons player in a bad position. Maybe it's better to just try and commit to take them out rather than just say, all right, you know what, we'll leave them be and try to win the game, you know? So when you have that flexibility, it really opens the door to so many different options. And they're in a great spot for this next circle. I knew it before I even popped. I was like, yep, they are. I was going to say this circle, but yeah, look at that. They are in a beautiful position. You got so many squads out the way. Honestly, I'm looking up north. Brute Force in a terrible position. They've had a rough day yesterday. It is not looking good for them. At this point, I think if we want to even see them make it into the finals, we need to see like a double-digit elimination chicken dinner at the minimum.
Look at the rush for the central positions now, moving around the foothills of Everest. Tianba are in and amongst that fray, so I think we know how that one might go. Vampire pushing in from the southwest side, need to make their mark as well. They're fending off approach from Reject right now. Haven't lost anyone just yet. Reject taking damage, diverted away. They're going to have to get in and amongst it with the other teams as well. They've been sent packing. Besiktas right over that ridge line. I feel like Vampire are going to want to take this ridge on the southwest edge. Need Besiktas with oversight there, and Reject can't do a damn thing about it.
Sara just overcommitted there on that rotate. I mean, he just got a little bit too greedy, I think, on information. Went down the hill and got punished immediately. That's the PMWC right there for you. Team Liquid on the move as well. Besiktas Black are holding this compound, and they're doing a great job of it.
Vampire now with the dome under control.
That's right.
sending out the signals. 4MV on the southeast side, meanwhile, over towards Gatka. Alliance trying to move in pretty close by to them. They're sort of trading off, moving from these compounds through the hills to the south side of it. No one really getting aggy just yet.
No, sir, indeed. Yeah, especially Vampire. They got that observatory.
Oh.
Nice and locked down, looking pretty. And I think everybody right now is just very happy to be in the position that they're in. You got 4MV near Gatka, right next to those chopsticks. So if the zone does make a shift towards in that direction, they're going to be in a really good position. Mad Bulls are still looting in Rozhawk. What do you think about that?
They need more loot. Yeah. Basically, you win the game by having the most first aid kits. That's how it works. And so, actually, I think the recent patch actually made it so that the longer you spend in blue, the cooler you are, and therefore, that's pretty sick.
You gotta be cool.
Hell yeah.
Gotta be cool. That's for sure. But you know what's not cool is this rotation they're gonna have to do. Very fortunate for them that this side of Ruins is not taken at all. But they're gonna definitely have to combat a couple teams if they want to even get some points on the board here with this next possible shift. Where do you think the zone's going to go?
Where do I think the zone's going to go?
Let's see.
Okay, pure guess. Throw a dart at it. I think it's going to go over to the North Gatka Fields. It's going to be hard shift east, and it's going to be right on top of Falcons.
I'm going to say it's going to go all the way north. All the way. D plus Kia going to get this circle right here towards Everest. Let's see what happens.
Oh,
hey,
man.
That's pretty north. Pretty north right there.
That's you. That's definitely you.
Hospital in play.
Other two. Let's talk about what impact that has. Tianba's position right now holds out all of these teams to the south. TJB on their east flank actually helps them do that as well. They have this line. Everybody in the southeast side is going to have to figure out how to get through. The one avenue that they have, swing west, up that road, but then you crash into brute force on the west side of South George.
Yeah, you got teams like Alliance all the way on the south side. They're just going to have to fight their way on in. As we look at that, yeah, that knock right there, Sara getting punished. Nice shots there from Tosspick. These players are so good at popping people out of vehicles from long range.
Just taking those shots and able to land them time and time again. I'm pretty sure my guns don't work like that when I play.
Woo!
Tony K with the Mini 14 as well, a range, able to do a lot of work. Tianba actually fell back from their position that they were holding on that line, so they are giving ground. They didn't want to be the team actually holding that line.
Tony K busting out that Mini. We saw him last year, mid-season championships, dominated with that weapon. So the gun has definitely shot off here, so teams need to be careful here and have to start shutting him down quickly. Meanwhile, Chips from D plus Kia gets knocked. We're starting to see fights happen all over the place. D plus Kia getting punished once again. They are holding that edge of Hospital, and they are getting picked apart. Tianba Sean, whoa, gets the explosion and takes out Reject just like that.
3 eliminations for Tianba, and they will not slow down. That's 90 points now on the cards for them, which means they keep up their 10-point average guaranteed. Excellent news. Meanwhile, Alolex IHC trying to fend off against D plus Kia as well, but it's going not great right now for the Korean squad. They have been all but out of these matches so far today, and it looks like that's not going to change. Alolex IHC take them down, and D plus Kia, they're going out with a whimper.
I don't know what's going on with D plus Kia. I think if I were to guess, though, just from what I see here, if I could hear their comms, I'd know better. But from what I'm seeing, it just looks like they're starting to play it passive. I think they did so well yesterday that they're kind of erring on, hey, let's just try to get some points and guarantee our way to top 12. That's a mistake in my eyes. I think they need to play the same game they played yesterday, just holding those positions strong, taking out every single team on their way in, and it'll work out. But, I mean, already 3 games with rough performances, that is not good.
I'm just taking a look at the map right now. You can see the Mad Bulls on your screens descending from Everest. They are moving up towards the north side to try and flank around there. DX Xavier on the north side of the hay farm, taking control of a compound right on the junction of of some of the paths that went their way through. This is a Tiamba circle all the way through. Look at that. It is a great compound that they have on the north side of the open ground. It's a hill that rises southwards from them, which means that having QZ actually on the top of that hill will give them a lot of info. He's in a vehicle, and very, very likely as soon as there's pressure put on the spot, he folds back, but they get so much info for
I was about to say, as soon as that zone shifted, I think there's pressure already, so he needs to start getting back to his team right now because there's no way he's going to be able to hold that by himself. But hey, we saw Tiamba doing some crazy splits. They were fighting everybody in the last match, and that worked out. Let's see if they could do it here once again. Meanwhile, Tony K on the hill getting peppered. Looks like from Team Liquid. They got their eyes on Besiktas Black right here. Yeah, a push is imminent on this location.
Absolutely seems to be. Besiktas going to have to leave likely soon. Newsy for Vampire flowing around the edge. QZ did go down, get knocked and flushed for Gamba, so was very much exploited. You were right, that pressure was just too much.
Yeah, he had to move immediately the zone after the zone shifted. But you know what? Like I said, when you're on top, right, you have some flexibility.
True.
So at this point, I'm not going to blame whatever you do when you're on top of the leaderboards. But the rest of these teams, they got to do something. One of them in particular has got to be brute force. They've had a terrible day. If they want to continue to stay here in Riyadh, Saudi Arabia, they got to perform here and now. Meanwhile, we watch Vampire just outside of the circle here. It looks like they're going to wait until the last second to make this push.
They have been playing very slow and methodical on this edge so far in the first matches. Obviously, it's not worked out for them, but they have already doubled their score total in this match, which is great news for the team. Unfortunately, what is not great news is when Mythic looks at you and clicks on your head.
Oh, and that Schweppes thirsted immediately. So Vampire are going to lose one here. And now they're in trouble because they got Team Falcons right next to them. But let's take a look over here at Mad Bulls on the rotate. Very, very close to Talon Esports. And Zurich trying to get some knocks out of the vehicle. Axel not able to get the pick on the car. And, oh, they actually do get one.
Down in the open, but 3 players make it through. A very dangerous rotate. And straight on into the auto shotty. TJB do not give an inch when Mad Bull's try and open the door.
Yeah, I would have liked to see Mad Bulls just take that commitment onto that fight there rather than the blind send. At this stage, these just don't work. They're just going to get shut down 95% of the time. Let's look at this replay, though. Sean! I mean, this man has been on point today.
What can you do? What can you do when someone's on fire like that? It's just get out of the way or die trying. I see on the off angle for Falcons, lighten up Team Liquid right now, who have got this position out on the east side. Near that radio tower there, and they are trying to roll on up. You've got Talon trying to push on in. This is a 3-way fight right now. Ayala's down, 2 players down there. Falcons trying to roll on in. Misery, Linux down, and Talon are suffering. At the moment, I think the front foot might actually be on Falcons rolling up into this fight, but hang on a minute, I had to turn that around. They've just gone down completely. They try and overcommit. And Mythic, now the last player to stand for Team Liquid. Everybody's having a bad day.
Team Falcons got deleted right there. They tried to commit to that radio tower, and they got knocked out. Meanwhile, Vampire Esports were able to get some reses off, so they still have 3 players up, and they're trying to commit onto this edge here. But man, you got Talon right there around the corner. 2 players up. Yoru's gonna, oh, what a great shot through the smoke.
Able to get so much done, and the nades are there to back it up. Vampire finally turning up the heat now with a swing out to the east side. And they are now under pressure. Team Liquid go down. Alola XIHC also wanted some of this third party. Vampire playing as 3, leaves this as a 3 versus 3. And again, this is now the 5th team to roll up onto this position before they can transition out to the west.
Now this is the Vampire Esports that we saw last year, starting to finally show their teeth here, or their fangs, as we may say. But they're going to have to take out IHC here, as Tony K is starting to throw those nades out. This is a bad placement right now for IHC. They're going to have to start moving on in.
I really question Demo's decision to do this, and the fact that Stone wasn't able to get any damage onto him. A little bit potentially of a misstep there. Maybe needed a little bit more or backup from teammate to be able to take that buggy down. But Demo gets some info. and folds back in ahead of Vampire in their rotate, but there's plenty of vehicles. They start to move forwards. Tony K, I don't think he saw the player to his left. It was immediately there. Godless tries to step out, and I think TJB might have sightlines. Tony K, stoned, trying to roll over these hilltops, but they're just getting peppered from the off angle. And sees Outlaw X IHC just rolling away from them as well. Popping up these smokes, doesn't have any nades, up high into the sky. The nades go long, but there's a knock onto Godless. That's TJB.
IHC is getting punished from so many different angles right now. And yeah, you can see 4 Miracle Vibes has now got their eyes on this location. Vampire Esports are just trying to hold on here. They're throwing out so many reses, all their utility, and rightfully so, because to try to get into this next circle, you got to go into an open field, and everyone's looking down here. They're downrange to a spot.
It is going to be so treacherous to make this one work. Besiktas Black on the southeast side as well, where Vampire obviously let them go. They're going to be a major threat for them later on now. The rolls around the hillside. As Ololax IHC try to find the shot, and Tony K with the vehicle position gets a little bit of damage, but not too much more. 2 players for them to deal with. A Demo finally picks up something, and it's Newsy. He goes down entirely. Rogue, low, but heals up, stoned in the smoke. Tony K rolls forwards, up into the rock, has the M4 in hand, looks for the spray against the UMP, trades out, wins it. And there is also backup from his teammate to take out Alola X IHC, but there's only 2 Vampires left.
Tony K able to take advantage of that right-hand priority there, wins that 1v1 and moves up into the circle right towards the edge there. He just has a little bit of hill of coverage, so he will survive for just a little bit longer. This is going to be a tough one, though. If this zone goes pretty much center, it's going to be a tough time for all these teams. This is an open field, guys.
Tiamba taking down another team. We'll get back to that. I'm sure there will be plenty more times of that to occur. In the meantime, on the south side, Besiktas crashing through over towards 4MV. They know that Vampire have a duo, or well, some players at least, out towards the east side of them. So they're reticent, they're reluctant to move on in towards this compound that 4MV hold, and in a pivotal position as well on the south edge.
So goes a little bit further south here. Now Tiamba not only need to step out of their comfort zone and start getting active. Brute Force going to have to do the same as well. Every single one of these teams is going to be holding the edge because it is a wide open range dead center. So we'll see how these teams decide to play it. You can see Tiamba scouting for quite a long while here, but they're going to have to start making that move inch by inch.
Tiamba, if they want 11 points average, they need 99 at the end of this match. They are currently 6 points short of that mark. When you don't count the placement points they've already earned, which isn't too many yet, but it will start to ramp up. So they'll be looking for that 6-point extra cachet.
And they could get it. They can really get it. I mean, 6 eliminations already. They're looking good. Now, let's see how Alliance is going to approach this fight here. They're starting to apply a little bit of pressure towards Brute Force, but none of these teams need to fight. But if Tiamba's coming in right now, Alliance needs to try to get this third party going. As we see Sean hold it back right now, gets one knock.
And there's 2 players now remaining. They lose 1 on the roll-up, but already a lot of damage done. Another player to fall as well, and Tiamba lose a second. It's Sean. 5 eliminations already, and Brute Force are just being backed off this hold. Alliance on the south edge, gonna move on up to replace that pressure as well. Sean low, but I think he's managed to get away with the rotate around the edge of Brute Force as well. Look at that, he's now out on the east side of them, has some high ground. Can he get some healing done? Can he get it back into the fight?
Tiamba committed like crazy there and are just devastating Brute Force in a game that they pretty much need to win at this point if they want to make it into the survival stage, because it is not, or actually if they want to make it into the main event here, because they're in big trouble. You can see Sean applying that pressure, 1v2. We saw him 1v3 a little bit earlier. Nades are ringing out from both sides, and that is gonna do it.
Finally able to stop the proceedings there for Tiamba. They get 6 elims though, and they keep that 10-point average going, looking pretty healthy at the top of those tables. Alliance now with the chance to move up towards Brute Force, but they've already been softened up by Tiamba on the north side, and this west side is looking so open for them. 4 players alive for Alliance. They've got the rooftop high ground. It is going to be so difficult to take this team down. I don't know if anyone's going to be able to do it. 4MV yet to dispatch Besiktas, but once they have, or well, if they have, sorry, for the Turkish fans, they will very likely be able to do so. That's kind of the main threat that I see. However, Vampire on the north edge, still surviving. I don't think for much longer given Cluck's position here.
Yeah, Klux is staring at him right now, but the zone could still go north. So let's see where it decides to go. If it centers up right here, it's going to be pretty tough for all these teams. But 4MV are still alive. They have 3 eliminations so far. And they're going to have to start working towards Besiktas Black and vice versa. Let's see what happens with this next zone shift. This is stage 6, about to be stage 7. Jimmy, oh, he's got the ankles, but Tony K
Nearly.
with the stiff arm.
Finding nearly a second knock there, but that allows him to get the res behind the hay bale. It's going to be so tricky to move now, though. 45 seconds until the close. The terrain up to their left side, so their east, will be maybe a little bit more maneuverable, but with Cluck able to have complete control over the runouts, there's basically nothing you can do. You've just got to win the fight or hope that Cluck is busy elsewhere.
Tony K has to hit a miracle shot if they even want to survive, but it's not looking good, folks. I mean, they did enough. They did enough, right? 6 eliminations so far. Top 5 position is nothing to shake your head at for a team that's just coming in here today. But it's good to start seeing some signs of life from this team. Now we're going to start seeing some smokes ring out. Or might as well, if you have any utility, just throw it. Why not? Because the odds of you making it out of this hay bale are slim to none.
They are going to have to move before the high ground position for Alliance, but for MV, actually, Besiktas having a good opener there. Poser is down, though, and Lewis needs healing. Out goes the forward position, and Toshpik finds 1-for-1 on the trade. The second as well on Drape, and the third and the fourth at the back. Oh, for MV get rolled over, and Besiktas mounts the side of the compound, able to push their way on in, forced on in, and I take my words back. I thought 4MV had it in the bag.
But no, they did not. Besiktas Black coming in hot, and Alliance did a great job here of cutting off Besiktas rotation. They're taking up even more real estate. Tony K, though, survived. He made it out of that hay bale with all that chaos from that fight.
Brute Force still have pre-pod there, and if he's a snake, if he's not gone noticed by Vampire, that could be death of him. Alliance have shimmied on out. They've sent 2 forwards.
That's one.
And it is going to be a good opener there. Low HP on Poser. That's going to get healed up on the sidelines as Jimmy keeps the pressure on. A lovely airburst, and Poser goes down. 2 knocks now for Besiktas, and Alliance still aren't committing. They just want to keep the pressure on. They know that they're outside the zone. They don't need to move too far. This is perfectly handled. Vampire take out pre-pod on the north edge, and Alliance are putting on a masterclass.
Yo, they got to watch out for Tony K. Tony K is still in the mix right here and could cause trauma for this team because Besiktas Black most likely going to go out, and Alliance did exactly what they needed to, just to keep applying that pressure. Blue Zone's going to do the work, but they said, nah, we want all these eliminations, and they get them.
Vampire 7 limbs, Tony K with the Mini 14. They're split 2 and 2. This means you can isolate around the side of the hay bale. Individual fights a little bit easier. But the regroup for Alliance looks to come forwards. Jimmy's moving on up in those vehicles, trying to get closer. Stoned, meanwhile, on the back lines as well. As Cluck finally, is he going to get dismounted? Yes, I think he is. He's not going to be in this zone for the next time around, but Vampire going to have to move as well.
Well, this is stage 8. The zone's going to go into nothing, and Tony K really need to hit a knock there. Oh, Stone got one, and that's onto Jimmy. That's a critical knock. Anything can happen. Can we see a miracle? Can we see Vampire clutch a 2v4 to get a critical chicken dinner?
Olio now in a really important high ground position. With vision over towards the Vampire players, they have to move forwards.
I don't like this at all from Alliance. I think they need to commit. Oh, that's huge. Yeah, Tony K finishing out Jimmy now makes it into a 2v3. Alliance cannot hold those spots anymore. I know they're good. I know you got a lot of sight lines, but just use the number advantage. Take them out one by one. You're basically essentially allowing 1v1s to happen here, and you're getting punished for it.
That's what I was saying, right? With that 2-2 split, they haven't fully recoalesced. They've left Cluck too far back, but now they move in. Play 2 players forwards with that backstop. Cluck, the off angle, the wild card.
Tony K has 2 nades left in his bag, and you know he's going to throw them. This is stage 8, folks. About to go to stage 9. This zone is about to go to nothing. It's going to center up here and apply that pressure on these players. Cluck he's able to make it off that rooftop, which is what I wanted to see, but he's got to find a way towards his teammates. They're all split. This is a terrible play, I think, from Alliance. They can't be snaking and trying to do this. They need to go in. Oh, that nade.
What? How did that not hit Stoned? I have no idea. It's going to go a little bit further this time and not really going to do too much. That nade was there, but it's still just not quite on the target. Tony K has the hay bale. Vampire need to shimmy forwards. Alliance have the center.
Tony K. Oh, Oh, he
good
wanted to
shot.
get the crate. He wanted that crate so bad. Tony K goes down, and that's Stone out of there. So you know what? Sometimes patience is a virtue, and Alliance are able to clutch out the third game of the day.
And hey, you know what? That's still a good game for Vampire, right? They were able to get a second place, 8 eliminations on the board as well, meaning that they have jumped up the tables a little bit faster than those first 2 matches would have you believe. But the chicken dinner goes to Alliance. They're 2-2 split. They're hold on Besiktas with those opening nades. They knew they didn't need to commit to it. They played the outside. They have that crossfire backup. You can't get